Guzzlers. I'm going to make some caviar. Now, that might be a bit difficult because caviar comes from the sturgeon. It's fish roe or fish eggs of the sturgeon. But we're making some balsamic vinegar caviar. Now, the in words at the moment are molecular gastronomy. At the end of the day, you're just making like a jelly out of balsamic. So in my, I was going to call that a boiler then. I'm going to be boiling it, sort of. In my saucepan, I've got 100 ml of balsamic vinegar. And then I need some agar, or agar. Some people call it agar, it's agar. Okay, and I used a lot of this in my past working life as a microbiologist, but anyway, that's another life altogether. And I've got 1.5 grams of that. That's all you need to make the balsamic caviar. Although you will need some oil, chilled oil. I've currently got some in a freezer, chilling right down, which reminds me I need something that I'm going to put it into. I'll tell you what I'm going to use. I'm going to use my McDonald's French World Cup from fuck knows when long ago, when France had the World Cup. I think they might have held it again since. Look at that. God knows what's on the paint. It's still there. And that's been in the dishwasher God knows how many times. Anyway, you're going to want some fresh water to rinse them with, a sieve, and that's it. Oh, and a pipette or some way of creating droplets. So, let's make some balsamic caviar. Molecular gastronomy. My 1.5 mils of balsamic. I'm going to add 1.5 grams of agar. So I'm just sprinkling that in there. Okay. And then we're going to gently bring that to the boil. And when it gets to the boil, we're going to simmer it for 2 minutes. Now, you simmer it too long, it will tend to make them harder, if you like. Okay. So what we're going to do is just get that agar dissolved into that, and then, like I say, cook it for a couple of minutes, and then we'll get our oil out of the freezer and we'll transfer it to that glass because we want a bit of a drop. And the idea being we will drop little droplets of this mixture into it, and the cold oil, they give you some bollocks when you watch how it works, but basically it will encourage the agar to set and it will naturally form little spheres. Spherification. Well, it is spherification, but they make it sound like it's all some. Anyway, like I say, just. Oh, excuse me. Must be the wine, maybe a bit, I don't know. So we're just going to bring that to a boil, a gentle little boil, and then just gently simmer it 2 minutes. Oh, so as that's coming up to the boil, the old acetic acid in there. Cool. Make your eyes sting a little bit. So that's just coming up to the boil. So we're just going to set the timer, like I said, 2 minutes, then we turn the heat off and we're just going to let it cool slightly before we move on to making the spheres. So we've let that cool slightly, and what I'm going to now do is I'm going to take up in a pipette or whatever some of this mixture, and we're just going to gently keep making droplets on top of the oil, and you will notice that they gradually start dropping. And as they fall, they're forming nice, perfect spheres. Now, obviously, the bigger droplets will form bigger balls. It's entirely up to you. Now, once it's got to the bottom, we're then just going to let it cool. Or sorry, not cool. We're just going to let it sit in that oil for about 10 minutes to fully set the jelly, because the agar is essentially, it's a vegetarian thing, by the way. It's what you use to make agar plates. In like microbiology, you know, you grow bacteria and yeast and things like that on it. Although, having said that, the agar is just the basic jelly agent, if you like. Normally most agar plates that you're going to grow bacteria on would have other sort of additives, you know, like food supplements if you like, for the bacteria. Anyway, I'm just going to continue doing that, and I might have to remove some of that oil in a minute. As you can see, we're starting to build up these spheres, and like I say, we just want them to set for about 10 minutes. And now we're just going to let that sit in there for 10 minutes, and then we're going to strain it and rinse it. Okay, so obviously you're going to need something to strain the oil. You can keep the oil and use the oil again. Okay, so it's not wasted. Just wondering, some of them haven't sunk yet. And then once we've rinsed it, we'll have a little taster. So now what we're going to do is we're now just going to tip them all out, hopefully. Probably walking you all together. But we are going to, I'm not going to bother keeping that oil. So we're just going to rinse that out, and once I've finally got them all out of there, we will then rinse them in more cold water until we got rid of most of the oil. Gentle application of a good old thump on the bottom. Finally got it out. I think what's happened is some of them have partly sort of stuck together, but all we're going to do now is just keep rinsing them off until we're happy we've got rid of all the oil, or as much of it as we can do. The little bastards are going everywhere. Get in here, slippery little fucker. That one's split. Anyway, so I'm just going to keep rinsing these, changing the water until I'm happy, and then we might have a little taster, because they should taste like balsamic vinegar. Look like caviar, but not. I've done them under the tap, and I've gone enough times. I think now basically we've got rid of the oil. But the interesting thing was, although they all seem to be stuck together, they're not. And the more we got rid of the oil, the looser, although there is a few there still looking like they're together. So, a little fucker over there escaped. So here we have what looks like caviar. Oh, I was just about to say, they're not over vinegary, but as they slip down the back of your throat, almost like bursting, you get, oh, there's the kick of the balsamic. So although they may look like caviar, which is like salty and most people don't like it, it is in fact balsamic caviar. Molecular gastronomy. Molecular my arse.